Morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Are we emotionally screwed up or sleep deprived or somewhere in that order? This is your zombie out here from Weaver Agency of Rosamond, California. 3:44 in the morning, West Coast time. It's the 26th of January, 2024. A couple of days ago, or actually, I think yesterday, there was a story posted on CNN regarding a student who's going to court regarding his hair. According to the article, this Houston teen had been picked on and harassed by the school district out in Texas, it being Barber Hills Independent School District. District's got a strict hair code concerning about hairstyles, including if you are of a different race. According to what the article is saying, and I'm going to quote part of it here. Um, this The Barber Hills Independent School District dress code allows students to wear locks hairstyle, but places limits on the length of male students' hair, which cannot be worn in a style, quote, that would allow the hair to extend below the top of the t-shirt collar, below the eyebrows, or below the earlobes, well, not down, unquote. Cannot. It cannot be this way. It will not be this way. How dare you? School officials had warned the student that if he's going to continue this, he's still going to be suspended. I mean, they're not going to uh, cancel out his graduation, even though he's a senior. But they got a problem with this because they want conformity. I'm on my other computer. I'm reading this damn thing. As they have stated in here, according to their superintendent, until he cuts his hair or we get a court ruling to the contrary, he will stay an independent study, which means he stays at home. He stays at home. You cannot go to the school because of your hair. How dare you, sir? Hmm. But the student and the family have vowed not to cut his locks, not changing the damn hairstyle for anything. That's why they're suing him in federal on this one. What I'm doing is looking at the one thing in this article over here. I gotta get a PDF on this damn thing because this is a First Amendment right over here, and I'm kind of touchy when it comes down for the First Amendment rights, including when it comes down for students. I mean, this opens up another can of worms on this one here that people just don't like to talk about, but we're going to talk about it anyway because conformity, complicity, you must comply, you must conform. We have freedom, but you have to comply, okay? Comply with this particular way over here. It has to be done. According to the attorney representing, let me see if I can get this information right over here. Okay, I'm going to be reading off of the article here. Okay, I got to put this into my video. Okay, the following month, George was referred to an alternative school program. Greg Poole, superintendent of the Barbers Hill Independent Barbers Hill Independent School District, told CNN at the time when the referral was not because of his hairstyle. A notice was sent to George's family by the school district and obtained by CNN, cited alleged violations including, quote, disruption of the ISS classroom, failure to comply with directives from staff administration, violation of tardy policy, and violation of the dress and grooming policy. Well, okay. Alice Booker, no, I'm sorry, Allie Booker, an attorney representing George and his mother, the student and his mother, told CNN Thursday she believes the dress code is selective and enforced and hopes the trial will seek justice for black males at the school district who have long been and are still being discriminated against. Cool. Now, according to the superintendent, in a statement, the district had filed for a declaratory judgment in the case last year because officials are certain the dress code is not in violation of the Crown Act. Hold on a second. Now, I got to see something about this one here. Research, research, research. I need to know what the hell they were talking about here. Now, according to the state of the confusion place called Texas, uh, there was a bill introduced in Texas, an act relating to discrimination on the basis of hair texture or protective hairstyle associated with race. They call this the Crown Act. Okay, let's see. This is from the Texas State Governor. Bill to be acted. Okay, this was maybe last year or year before. A bill to be entitled an act related to discrimination on the basis of hair texture or protective hairstyle associated with race. Be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, as amended. Okay, the other portion prohibited. Prohibition on certain discrimination in students' dress on or grooming policy. The section protective hairstyle includes braids, locks, and twists. Any student dress or grooming policy adopted by a school district, including a dress code or grooming policy for any extracurricular activity, may not discriminate against a hair texture or protective hairstyle commonly or historically associated with race. Chapter 1A. I'm saving that little piece there. And I got to see something about this one here in the Google search. Give me 1 second here. Okay, they have a TexasCrownAct.org. Okay, that's going to be another thing I got to put in this thing. Okay, so once I get it processing, I'm going to be doing this one here. According to the site of TexasCrownAct.org, Crown Act is a crucial step in furthering cultural diversity and acceptance as it sets out to protect people of color from discriminatory practices that have been entrenched in our society, particularly in schools and in workplaces. An act criminalizes the targeting of hairstyles associated with race and prevents employers, educators, and oppressors from opposing stringent policies related to physical appearances. Oh, good Lord, I'm feeling a theatric coming on me here. It was created back in 2019 by Dave and the Crown Coalition in partnership with then State Senator Holly J. Mitchell of California. Okay. Liberalism. Yeah, 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 yeah. To ensure protection against discrimination based on race based hairstyles by extending statutory protection to hair texture and protective styles such as braids, locks, twists, and knots in the workplace and public schools. Well, ain't that interesting? Yeah, so let's see what the Tribune's got to say for itself. The Texas Tribune. Abbott signs this thing into law. Screwed up Texas Governor Abbott signs into law the Crown Act banning race-based discrimination. I'm saving that thing. I'm going to save that under the PDF. Research, research, research. Why am I saving this, you might ask? It's information. This was dated back on May 29th, 2023. Signed into law a bill prohibiting race-based hair discrimination in Texas workplaces, schools, housing policies. It goes into effect for September. Wow. Okay. Cool. So now, basically, we're Greg Abbott in his saner days. I don't know if the guy was actually sane or not, but maybe he was. But Texas did something positive for the people inside the state. A hairstyle cannot be discriminated against. According to the Crown Act, this particular student who was wearing his hairstyle in a certain way, in a certain fashion, he was being discriminated on by the district. Because I'm sorry, I represent the district over here. I have to go theatrical at this point over here. What kind of a student are you? Doesn't even conform and comply with what's going on with here? How dare you? Getting on with this thing. Getting past all the damn advertisement here. Shall we go further into the article? Shall we? Okay, here we go. A notice. Okay, well. Dress code was elective and seek justice against this thing. Okay, good. Discriminated. Now, according to the school district, judgment in the case last year well, the school district filed for a judgment in the case last year because officials said there are certain dress codes that are not in violation of the Crown Act. Texas law mandates that there can be no implied meaning with interpreting statutes. The Crown Act was meant to allow braids, locks, or twists, which the district has always allowed. The law was never intended to allow unlimited student expression. Gods! Unlimited student expression, how dare you! Earlier this month, Poole placed a full-page ad in the Houston Chronicle arguing that, quote, being an American requires conformity with the positive benefit of unity. The criticism from the Chronicle and other media is based upon assumption that the school district is clinging to. Well, actually, I'm going to rephrase that one. Okay. I'm trying to get into a statement that probably adds a little bit more insult to injury at this point. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Okay, Poole is the superintendent. I gotta keep remembering that one. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's get back into the theatrics here. Earlier this month, Poole placed a full-page ad in the Houston Chronicle arguing that, quote, being an American requires conformity with the positive benefit of unity. You must comply with the Borg. The criticism from the Chronicle and other media is based upon assumptions that the school district is clinging to outdated values or social norms, that academic excellence never goes out of style. Yes, the litigation is not about what is best for the students. Bobby Hill ISD will continue to make decisions to protect and fight for the rights of the community, to set the standards and expectations for all school districts, even though that path may take us to the Supreme Court. How dare you! Of course, the article ends right there. So basically, being an overdramatic son of a, yeah, like I am. I take the First Amendment very seriously at this point. This is a First Amendment right. I mean, this is besides a Texas law that was passed in by their ever conservative and ever insane governor named of Greg Abbott, who is still waging a war against the federal government and will not comply with his immigration crap. And he's still waging a war against the United States. He's declaring a civil war, basically, in a form. So he wants to showdown. He already had the showdown in the Supreme Court concerning about the barrier situation. But this is Greg Abbott at his worst sometimes. And saying that, I'm going to get switched back to the school district because that's also a First Amendment situation we've got going on here. Now, I know I'm coming from a libtard, libturd, democratic, liberal-minded state of mind, not to mention the state and the union that we're theoretically all belonging to. We value, or at least some of us try to value, differences. Try to celebrate that. We do have certain conformities, but we're not putting the screws to people left and right, at least not that I've heard or read about or come across in the articles, but there probably are out there that I haven't come across yet. That if California is actually doing that in certain schools, I haven't heard about it yet, but there probably would be if I do some further background on this one. But this article from CNN kind of pissed me off on this one, and I'm glad it did. Because this is telling me that there's dress codes out there that people still can want. Now, I can understand about the private schools saying that they want a dress code, that they want a certain style, conformity. Hell, they wanted that back in the 80s. Catholic schools, you had to be dress uniform, shirt and tie for the kids. And the girls, well, long dresses or skirts, I think. But you still had to dress accordingly to the school that you were going to. If it was public education, they really didn't have that much problem. They didn't exactly like some of the shirts some of the kids were wearing, but there was always that problem with the school boards on that one, trying to find what was the right taste for them. LA tried to be that way. LA Unified tried to be that way a long time ago, but I don't know if it's still that way now. If they're going to be limiting kids with their freedom of expression. And are they allowed to express themselves? Are the kids allowed to express themselves? Including on the conservative state over here, which there's a lot of things I could say negative about it, and not too much positive, except for one thing about it. Well, maybe a few things about it. One of them, my brother came out of Texas. He was liberal minded. He was Texas in his heart, but he wasn't conservative and backward ass like we have today. My brother still would have been crying over the demise of Governor Richards a long time ago. She made Texas a blue state, thinking and feeling. But conservatives took over, so they got a red screwed up state. That's my political crap for that one. And there's a lot more to say about it, but I like NASA. I like space. I say it's something good for that one. Galveston's got a cruise port concerning about ships coming in. Okay, good. I'll say something good about that one. I haven't tasted their barbecue, so I don't know about the cooking. But here's the other thing. I don't know if I'm willing to step foot in Texas. There's a lot of people who feel deeply ingrained with the Texas culture. Now, reading history books concerning about Texas, and I know they've got their own version of what their own history is, of how their state grew up, or tried to secede from the Union and failed at that one. But there's a lot of things that could be opening up a Pandora's box and blow the thing up. But this is one of those things I'm a little pissed off at Texas. They allow school shootings happening. They can also allow discrimination. They can also allow people to be conform and comply and be unified. You know, on it. Freedom of expression is still part of the First Amendment rights, including students should have some of that. But unfortunately, even though they reach the age of 18, the legal age of being adult, are they also going to be coming across I keep asking a question in my head on some occasions that is it nationwide we have the legal age of being 18, or is that individual state interpretation of what's considered an adult? And if this kid is actually an adult, if the state of Texas is still considering the being an adult is the age of 18, then why the hell are they pushing this shit down his throat? If he's an adult, he really should be going after him on that one. But if he's 17, that's a different story altogether. So naturally, he's got to have his family and a legal representation to fight for him. Look, their own conservative, screwed up governor put in the Crown Act because he was trying to win votes, probably, in my opinion, for the black community. And now he's losing it. He's not going to rule on it. He's not going to say any word or put his political clout on this one because he's fighting the federal government and anybody else for that matter. What else are we supposed to do about this one? I don't know. But how would you like to have a state that tells you that you can't wear what you're wearing? You have to be uniform. You have to be in you have to be thinking of a certain mindset. You have to be in this particular form or fashion, or otherwise you're not considered. It's still the us versus them situation. It's the elitism crap. It's the ego. It is. And my observations and my understanding of it. When you're going to be forcing issues down kids' throats here and other people's throats, saying that you have to comply, you have to conform because it is the good of the unity, it is the good, then I guess they keep forgetting what America was in the first place. And they have their own versions of learning about things and how screwed up their history is. They're probably going to say that we didn't have slavery. I probably will say that Texas is the only sane state out there who's willing enough to shoot and kill people left and right for the fun of it. Of course, we use our kids as body bags, or actually, we use them as target practice. Parents would get outraged if a school happens to get shot over, either because there was school police or there wasn't school police, or if there was a crazy kid with a gun in there in the school system trying to murder and slaughter people while you had cops cowering outside. He's got a gun! He's got a high-powered gun! Oh no! And yet you're going to see a black youth wearing a hairstyle that scares the bejeebers out of people. And they'll pick on the kid on this one. Not the students. The school board will pick on the kid. Toss his ass out and said, you can't wear this thing because you're this way. You're talking about racial discrimination at this point. But it's not a violation of the Crown Act per se. You want to bet? When we keep saying that we will not fight for rights for everybody, but only for some people, we have become elitists. We have become snobs. We've become egomaniacs. We say so because your voice and you don't matter. You don't matter. That's why we have to keep fighting for our rights. That's why we have to keep making it harder and harder for everybody. We want our rights. Yes, we want our freedoms, but the problem is there's always a sacrifice in there. There's a balance between security and freedom. We want, but we also have to compromise. And there's people out there that don't want to compromise. We're supposed to be living in a pluralistic state of mind and of thinking. We're supposed to be understanding everybody has their own opinions. But if it has to be conformed, if it has to be complied with, it has to be. Then we're no longer the United States of America. We're no longer a freedom loving country. No, we're a dictatorship. We're an authoritative dictatorship. That includes our government systems. That includes everything else that we hold the truth to. We become a fascist dictatorship, just like Italy was back in the 30s to the 40s. What happened back in World War II? Those examples that we have to draw upon, but people want to keep forgetting about history. Like genocide didn't happen. Auschwitz didn't happen. Auschwitz was a fable or a myth, according to other people's thinking. It didn't happen. We did not put Japanese descendants or Japanese, period, in concentration camps. We didn't do anything to them. Nothing happened to them. Are you kidding me? Nothing happened to the Japanese. We didn't do anything to them. We didn't do anything to the Germans. We didn't do nothing. We stayed home and played with our knitting. Even after Pearl Harbor got their asses blasted left and right, no wonder we had people going on a death march to the Baton. And we ignored the cries of everybody else. No, we shut our gates at this point over here. We didn't get into a war. We didn't lose lives. It's all a lie. Don't you understand that? Everything's a lie. You will obey. You will listen. It never happened. We didn't lose any lives in any wars. They're all fantasies. Don't you understand this? You will understand this. You will, because we say so. And that's what I see. And that's what I observe. Don't like it? That's you. What do you care? I mean, all these things that happen. But what do you care? You're just. You're just. Who the hell you think you are? You're just. You're not American. You're not dealing with the red, white, and blue there, are you? Yeah. You're just. That's all you'll ever be.